Okay, so I spent probably 10 to 12 hours last weekend trying to figure out how in the heck to degree my cams. So as you know, I've got adjustable cam sprockets um, with turbo camshafts from webcams. And I've been trying to watch videos on degreeing and figuring out the exact location or rotation so you adjust the sprockets accordingly in order to get what they're calling the perfect lobe center at 108 degrees. Again, I spent 8 hours Saturday, another couple hours Sunday trying to figure it out. And forgive me, this setup is a little Asian engineered, but I ended up taking it apart and I was like, you know what, I better make a video on this because if I had this much trouble, other people got to have some similar problems. There's plenty of videos showing you how to get exact top dead center on your wheel, so I won't show you how to do that. My thing is off now because I moved it. But once you get exact top dead center, I ended up using a dial indicator into the piston hole. That way I could figure out when it stopped and then set my wheel accordingly to 0. But what I couldn't figure out on the lobe separation or trying to get this lobe center was I started off measuring from when the bottom of the lobe started to when it was 10,000 starting on there, and I cannot figure out how in the hell they're getting 108 degrees or 89 something off of the wheel when it's only reading 22. So I went back and forth, all kinds of formulas, looking at videos, trying to figure it out, but nobody had any close-up shots of this stuff. I finally called my buddy down in Florida who builds some motors. He gave me some text messages, no, you got to do this, and I finally read it. And he said, no, you have to take it off of the lobe tip. So, let me see if I can do this with one hand. It's going to be pretty rough going, but I think I can manage. So, I've got a dial indicator set to 0, and this is off of the intake cam. So this is at the very peak of that intake lobe. It's set to 0. Sorry if the glare from the flash. I'm going to try to do this for you. So now I'm going to go down 20 thousandths. And so now it's rotated 20 thousandths off of the top of that lobe, okay? Now what I'm going to do, geez, my big ass finger's in the way. Going back, after I go to 20, I go back to 10 thousandths, and basically that takes the slack out of the cam chain, any kind of play like that, and you'll have your degree pointer pointing that way, and you'll write down that formula or that degree mark. Okay, so that's 124. It's what it's showing. Now it's not correct for my motor because this is how many times I went through it to finally get the correct one. Once you do that, you're going to go back to the other side of the cam. Well, shoot, I'm right there. So anyway, you're already going to rotate it. You're going to do it twice. One on the front side, one on the back side. But hopefully that gives you an idea how to do it and will save you 8 hours of just racking your brain, about to blow it out and going to send the motor out to have somebody do it. I couldn't see it in the video, but they took it off of the lobe tip. So find the center of the lobe tip, mark your dial indicator at 0, and then you're going to go on the front side and the back side of the lobe tip. Go to 20 thousandths, then go back to 10. That'll take any slack out. And at 10 thousandths, check your degree wheel and mark that down. Go to the other side of the lobe for 20 thousandths, go back to 10, mark that degree. Take the two numbers, add them up, then divide by 2, which will give you your lobe center, and we'll go from there. I went a couple times, as you'll see, one is 107.75, one's 108.25. I just went around again to double check and make sure that I was pretty darn close to what I thought I had. after I had Loctited my cam wheels in there. Now it's just time to button her up and hopefully carry this motor over to the bike and get it installed.